Hey everybody, happy Wednesday, how are you doing? What's everyone up to today? I think I had this wrong in here, don't I? Let's see. Huh. Title's not even working, that's funny. I'll check that after. I'll check it now. Alrighty. I don't remember what I set the title to. I think it was fine. See if we can't get it to load here. Good morning. Hope you've got your coffee. I had to start another pot, so meant to stop at the end of that song and I forgot. Let's see. Yeah, I think I've got the wrong numbers in here. Let's see if this will load. Maybe. LJ. No, 1500. Okay, perfect. We're good. We're good. I had a rough day yesterday, so didn't end up getting a lot done. All right, cool. So we're going to wrap up our bit on files here today. We got through most of it on Monday. I'm going to do some more examples, though, to look at how we can store data in files and then read data back out of files when we're done. And then that'll finish up files. It's not really anything we need to do with exceptions, I think. We got most of it covered up here. You know, we'll hit the harder next, or go deeper into that topic next semester if you do continue on. And then next week, we'll get started with our Java FX stuff. We talked about Project 4. That was our movie theater project, right? I think we've got that one ready. Let's see. We can get started on that one. There it goes. Finally, mostly loaded here. Nope, not even fully loaded. That's okay. Still thinking about it. So we'll look at this one more time. Yep, this is our movie theater here. So we're just going to have one show, essentially. A couple options, right? They can make a file for the show. Yeah, we can chat after class for sure. Good morning. And then the number of tickets they want to sell. So we'll make the file with the list of tickets, the purchaser's name, and random verification code being empty. Right, this will make life easier for us. So if I say, hey, I'm going to have 20 tickets for the show, I'll make 20 tickets, save 20 empty tickets to the file. So I'll have ticket number 1, ticket number 2, ticket number 3 in that file. And then option 2 is I can sell tickets for the show that we specify. So, okay, hey, let's go sell tickets now for the show we just made a file for. We'll read the file, load all those tickets into the ticket array, and then the user can go and see if they want to buy one. So once I've got those tickets in an array of tickets, we'll see if it's been sold or not, right? Whether or not, maybe 0 for the confirmation code is probably easy to check, or if the name is blank here. And then option 3 is going to give us the report of each ticket. Okay, so we've done a little bit here. Don't need this project. Let's open our... Okay, it doesn't know... Oh, because I reinstalled. That's why. It's like, why does it know any of our projects? We'll go to 1500. Nope, apparently not. Documents. GitHub. Wow. I don't know what it's doing there. I think it's just trying to be helpful. We did, we're working on files. No, that's the Tuesday class. We're Monday, Wednesday. File IO, there we go. This is our File IO chapter. And yeah, let's trust those projects. Okay. Almost there now. Getting this started back up. I'm missing my coffee. Should be done. I started the pot just before it came back up. But apparently, it should be done, what, 10, 15 minutes to brew a pot? I don't even remember. Come on. And my sugar's too high again. It's a rough day, friends. So we did our little shopping list program with classes and without classes. So this idea here, we'll do a quiz on chapter 17, because I think that's the last full chapter we're actually going to cover, because we don't cover all the files chapter here. Did we have one on 11 for arrays and array lists? Not sure we had that one. Wednesday feel like Monday? Yeah. Oh, we didn't do 11. Okay, so we'll do 11 and 17. Let me open up 11 for you. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we'll do 11 and then 17 next week after we get into the Java FX stuff. But chapter 11, we should have covered everything for our arrays and array lists. I'm sorry, 11 was arrays. 12, we just talked about array lists. So let's put this out. We'll do like... I don't know. There's no big rush on it, so why don't we go to like the 11th or so. Okay, and then I think it's already attached to the quiz score. Yep, cool. All right, so that one will be out there. Thank you. Sorry about that. That 11 and then 17 when we cover Java FX next week will be our last quizzes. Okay, and then it should be set up to actually drop your lowest quiz score as well there in D2L. So if one of them didn't go so well, it'll just drop that one for you. Don't worry too much about it. Okay, so we're going to focus on the shopping list with classes portion here, because that's what we were doing, and what we're going to do with the project is take a class here and read and write it from a file. So in this case, we added a fun little, hey, we want to get the line for a file that we're going to turn into the single line in a file. So I can put all of its attributes on a single line and kind of like separate them here with a character that I don't expect. This pipe character. Is that font kind of small? What happened to my font? I thought the font was a little bit larger than this. I'm confused. Feels a little small. Oh, because I reinstalled it is why. That's why. The editor. Font. There we go. Let's make that a little bit larger here. Let's go maybe 16 or so. Is that a little easier there to see now? A little bit nicer? Okay, cool. Right, so, and then all the other things, gets and sets for our different attributes if we need them, right, if it makes sense for it. But this way we can get the info for the file when we write it to a file here. So I'm going to keep an array list of that item here. So this way I can work with it in memory, and then I will either read it out of the file here. So this was the splitting on that funny character, that pipe character here. And then I'd say, okay, the first part was the name, the second part was the quantity. Hey, Official Gatman, how you doing today? And we make the item and then add it to our list. So this way we would read the file, creating the item instances, and put them into our array list of items, so I can work with them later. Questions are good. And then when we were writing the file, we would go and for every item that's in our list of items here, we'd print the whatever we're getting this get line for file was to say, hey, let's do this cool little delimited, and I want the pipe in between all of these. So if our class has a way that it can turn itself into a single line here, it's maybe a little bit easier. Not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be in here. It just makes life easy for us that it can already convert for us and do that sort of work here. We might even be able to add a similar method if we wanted to for turning this funny line here into an item, but again, not too particular here. Either of those should work. So let's try it with another, let's do like another file IO project. Let's do that. Because I'll leave this one as is. We'll do another one. So Java with Maven project. Probably easiest. The other one just seemed to stop working for me, and I don't know. I got confused. Wednesday, and then what are we going to call this one? This will be more file IO2. Sure, file IO2 is probably fine. Well, let's get loaded up. So I'm going to do it in a new window though, because I want to copy some of this stuff when it comes to files, because we have to do all these crazy things. Like the buffer reader needs a file reader, which needs the file, and all sorts of things here. Unfortunately, every organization's a little bit different. It's just kind of weird. The best thing I can suggest is going and looking on sites like Glassdoor or other places that say after you've gone through an interview, you can post what the interview is like, so you can get a little familiarity with what their process usually is. But as like a junior position, I don't think we'd expect any sort of like master level of any topics here, but hey, you've got some broad-based exposure to lots of things. Is typically what we look for junior developers, and you're at least familiar and can talk about technology, and generally I like to see people talk about projects that they were interested in and what was interesting about it, what hard things did they have to overcome, and trying to see if people can problem solve, I think is the biggest key here. So I'm going to add a package for file IO2, because you want somebody who can go and solve problems. It's kind of the idea. It's generally a good indicator that they'll be a good developer, rather than they just kind of sit around and wait for someone to tell them, hey, go code this, sort of thing. No, we're not going to get into any frameworks in particular. They're like sets of tools around a particular technology that make stuff a lot easier. I don't know if that might be the easiest way to say it. What is our class here? So here's file IO2. All right, here we go. So we got all this here. Yeah, there's all sorts of interesting frameworks depending on what you want to work on here. Yeah, if you know 1,000 technologies and you're bad at problem solving still. Yeah, I mean, there's places for all people with all sorts of different skills, definitely. But generally, what I like to look for is people who can problem solve and have done something that they're interested about that they can talk about. So I need a public static void main method here. So there's my little shortcut PSVM public static void main, and then that'll auto expand. Or you can just go copy paste it here. So we want to, let's work with, let's see if we can't keep like a ledger of transactions here. So I'm going to make a transaction class here. And then transaction is going to have probably a private string for the account name. Here it'll have a private double for the amount. And then how about a private string for the date? There are other ways to do dates. It's really kind of beyond what we want to tackle right now to do them in a more complete manner. So we're just going to take a string. So they can type in whatever date they want, and we don't need to try and force them all to fit a particular way or not here, if that's all right with you. So we'll do transactions, and then let's generate a bunch of code, right? I need a constructor, and I need gets and sets. So let's do getters and setters. I'm just going to put getters and setters for all of them. Again, it might not be appropriate, right? If we want to store transactions, you might not want to be able to change these sorts of things. So maybe we don't have sets. Yeah, maybe we don't have sets. So this will be like one-way transaction. So you can make the transaction, but we can't ever go and change its attributes. So we'll just do gets here. And then all of those values then we need to pass into the constructor. So once we make a transaction, it's going to be stuck as this account, this amount, and this name. So you give me the account name, I'll save it as my account name. You give it the amount, I'll save it as my amount. You give me the date, I'll save it as my date. And then all we let you do is get them back out. So not really a lot of logic or anything happening here, but it's a way to kind of group all these attributes together so that they're easier for me to work with. Okay, so I'm going to make an array list of type transaction. These are my transactions. There's a new array list. Okay, and yes, we want to import array list, please. So we need to read and write the file. So there's no file to read yet, so we can skip that one for now, I guess. And we'll just say, why don't we ask them to enter some transaction information? So I will say, enter a transaction or an account name or done. Sure, be all done. And then we'll have a string for the account name. Is my keyboard.next line. Oh, we need scanner for that, right? So we'll do scanner keyboard. There's a new scanner. Given system.in. Add our imports. Yes, please. Okay, and then while the account name equals ignoring case is done, and not that, right? Well, it's not done. Let's keep on going here. So as long as it didn't tell me done, we'll say, okay, how will we ask for the amount then? So we need a double. Our amount is double.parse double of the keyboard.next line. Oops, we should probably ask them for that first. Enter the transaction amount. And then enter the transaction date. Date, and get a string for date is just keyboard.next line. Then we'll take the account name, we'll take the amount, we'll take the date, and then we will turn them into a new transaction. The transaction equals a new transaction given the account name, the amount, and the date. And then I can take my transactions list here, right? We can add the, nope. Wow, what? That was weird. It didn't copy. There we go. We can add the transaction to it. Then we want to ask them for an account name. We're done. All right, keep on going here so the loop can keep going. So this will get a whole list of transactions for us here, and then in our transaction class, let's do that same sort of getting a string. So public string, get string, or file, or something like that. And then we can return the account name plus the pipe character plus the amount plus the pipe character plus the date. Right? So we can convert all of those here. So then we can write a file. Let's go and just borrow when we did writing a file over here. Right? We need a try catch block here because bad stuff could happen when you do file IO. So we're going to make a print writer given a buffer writer, given a file writer, given a particular file name. So we need a name for the file here. So we'll say, how about this is string, file name is transactions.txt. Sure, right, txt because it's a text file, we're going to save it there. And then for transaction in transactions, we'll say transaction.getLine for file. Oops. That one, copy paste is getting funny here. We'll write the get string for file. Sure, get string for file. And then when we're done, we'll close the file. So it should be able to write all of our transactions out to a file. Okay, that's all this one does. So let's give that one a try. So we should be able to give a couple transactions here. Maybe we should have had transaction name instead of the account name. Like if we wanted to list what this transaction was for, I don't know. This is fine. All right, it's Billy. I gotta grab my coffee. All right, so sure, let's say that hey, this is for Netflix was $14.99, and that was, how about today, $3.30? Oh, $3.20, sure, why not? And then we'll do one more. We'll do, how about for Disney Plus? Disney Plus, that one was, what, $8.99 or something, and that one we had to pay on $3.30. There we go, we actually got the 30, and then we'll say done. Let's see if we can get those two out to the file here. Now we should have a transactions.txt file. Here you go. Netflix, $14.99, $3.20. Disney Plus, $8.99, $3.30. So we see the data out there. Looking good so far. So then we need a way to read the file, right? If we want to like keep adding to this transaction list here. So we can go and read the file first here. So if we want to read the file, and this is a try catch block here. Actually, so we're going to make the file first. So we make a file equals a new file, and we give it the file name. Say, okay, hey, let's see if there's a file with this file name here. And then we can check if that file exists. Because if it doesn't exist, there's nothing for us to read. It's not going to work very well. So it's always better if you're going to read a file, make sure it exists first. Just a good practice. Then we can go through and get some values here. So if it exists, and we'll do a try catch block. Because bad stuff could happen here. We need a buffered reader that uses a file reader that uses file. Here we're going to read one line at a time, and then we're going to split here on this. So now I actually have three different parts here. So still splitting on pipes, but I'm going to have the name. I'm going to have the double for the amount is double.parseDouble of the next part. And then I'm going to have the date here as a string is parts of 2. Right? If there's 3 parts, I get index 0, index 1, and index 2. And then I'll make a new transaction. Transaction is a new transaction given the name, the amount, and the date. And we'll take our transactions list and we'll add the transaction. Right? And then we'll read the next line. Keep on going. So reading the file similar here, and then we can print them all out if they want here. So we could say for transaction in transactions. Let's go print. So we can say, hey, here's your current list, current transaction list, and then we'll print the transaction.get account name plus, I don't know, a $sign plus transaction dot get amount plus on plus transaction dot get date. How about that? Does that seem reasonable? So the account, the amount, and on a given date here. So we'll print out their current list, and we can ask them to add more names here, account names, whatever, dates, amounts, write them all back out to the file. So when we write to the file this way, remember this will overwrite, but because we've already read the file, I have them all in my array list. So rewriting that file with the array list is no problem because I have all the existing stuff. So we can only really add to. We haven't been able to remove anything, but that's okay. We're not going to remove anything right now. It's probably trickier than we care to. So when it runs, it should go read those two transactions for Netflix and Disney Plus. So that's our enhanced for loop, right? This read-only for loop here. So for every transaction, we're going to call transaction in the transactions collection here. Yep. Yeah, you could do it the same way if we wanted to with by index. If you wanted to, we could say for index 0, index is less than my transactions dot. Remember, there's an array list. We use size index plus plus, and then we'd say transactions dot get the index, right, to get out a particular transaction, and then we can call get account name, and so on like that. Right, we can get them all that way if we wanted, or actually, really more like what it's doing here. It's saying transaction equals transactions get the index, right, and then this same line is the same thing. Then, because now this transaction variable is whatever we got at that index. This is just the enhanced read-only loop, right? So same idea here. Let me just comment those ones out though, if you don't mind. What is that? Let's see. Should I put it? I should put it below, I guess, right? Say it's the same as above. Same as above with looping by index. That sound good? Yeah, always happy to throw in more notes and stuff like that. So just shout at me, please. Thank you. So we're able to read those. Okay, if we want to add another transaction, yeah, let's see what else we pay for. Probably HBO Max, right? This one's for my little guy because it has Sesame Street. That is the official party line for HBO Max. What is that one? $9.99 or something? I should really look these up. $3.29. Sure. And then we'll say done. Right, and now our transaction file, we should have added the HBO Max subscription. Sure. All right, it's just going to add to the list. Now it's not sorted at all. These dates are funny. Again, it's a little bit awkward, but that's okay. This is the idea that we can go make files and read them given a file name. So if your file name needs to be different, right, like, hey, which movie or which theater, like, just ask for a different file name. And you can use that same file name when you make your files here and when you write your files. You can use that same variable. So similar ideas there. You can always fix it. Yeah, you can always fix it later. That's true. That's true. All right, so how you folks feeling about files? Do you think we can tackle the next 7 with our little theater manager here? File IO project. Oh, excuse me. I gotta go grab my coffee here. Right? File with the show name. Right, so each show will get its own file. We'll get that list of tickets. We need that ticket constructor. We need ways to set the name and set the confirmation code. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, if you run into any trouble, let me know. So again, ideally you get it done before the final project, but we've got other stuff going on. Life is busy, so you've got till the 11th for it if you need it. Now the final project is a lot, so if you can get it done sooner, that's definitely better, because that way you'll have time to focus on the final project. But this will work too. Okay. So let me know if there's anything I can do for you. I think that's all we need to do for examples today then. I can bounce around and meet with people who want to chat after the fact. And we can go from there. Does that sound good? All right, SP Java. I gotta grab my coffee cup, and then I'll hop back up and I'll be on my Zoom meeting in like just a couple minutes. Excuse me, for anyone who wants to meet, okay? All right, folks, awesome. You take care, and if I don't hear from you then... Oh, study group. Yeah, study group today, 12 to 1. Don't forget, we got study group. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. You got to prioritize your time, so you do what you got to do. All right, yeah, so study group today, 12 to 1, and I'll see you folks back on Monday in April. So have a good rest of March. Take care, everybody.